BooTube. One of my videos I recorded last night right now is uploading, and while I'm waiting, I decided to, record another one. I'm going to record. Which one was it? Hang on. There you go. Okay. Fear the Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 4, titled "Blood in the Streets." I believe this one came out May 1st. So like first day of May, guys. First day of May. But anyway, from the preview we saw on the last Talking Dead, which basically was the Talking Dead for episode 3, we see Nick swimming, apparently swimming naked, because he looked like he was kind of naked-ish, and he's like swimming in the ocean in the middle of the night. There's like a helicopter and a patrol boat going around, and he pretty much escaped detection from it, and he pretty much arrives at an abandoned place. I want to say an abandoned place on a beach, and he has like strapped to him looks like a waterproof container maybe that had like clothes and shit in it, and that was the preview we saw for episode 3's Talking Dead. And we see it again in the beginning of the episode, and apparently he is at a recently abandoned refugee camp on the beach. And he manages to attract some walkers and lure one of the walkers into one of the tents and pretty much kills it. And then all of a sudden he starts gutting that walker and pretty much smearing its blood all over himself, right? So basically he's doing what, like I said in the previous one, he's pretty much doing what Glenn and Rick did in the first season of The Walking Dead, which was, disguise yourself amongst the walkers by putting their blood and guts all over you, which we saw in the first season of The Walking Dead with Rick and Glenn. And we saw Nick have somewhat of a revelation in the last episode 3, when it came to that in particular, with the whole blood all over him and the fact that none of the walkers seemed to actually come near and bite him and everything. They just simply passed him. So, yeah, that happened. And back on the Abigail, Travis is all condemning Strand for, in the last episode, he basically cut Alex's poor little yellow raft loose after they all agreed that they would tow Alex and Jake, who are on that little yellow raft, to San Diego and drop them off at San Diego, and then they'll go to Baja. But instead of following through that, Strand straight up just comes up there and cuts the rope loose, leaving poor Alex and Jake stranded in the middle of the ocean on their little itty-bitty raft. And so Travis is all pissed off about that, condemning Strand about it. And, there's also Chris and Ophelia, who are standing watch on deck, seeing if anything weird happening. And, all of a sudden, a small raft comes toward them that have 2 men and what looks like a bleeding pregnant woman approaching the Abigail. And while they're looking, they're like, oh my god, what should we do? And Chris wonders if he should shoot them or not, because he doesn't know if they're dangerous, right? And as he's contemplating that, the passengers, on the raft, they literally just board the boat without even being invited. Here they come on their little raft, speeding down, and they literally just let themselves on the Abigail without even any invite or whatsoever, saying, help, help! And apparently the bleeding, I don't know if she's bleeding, I think it's a hoax, but honestly, they said that this pregnant woman is having pregnancy complications, hence the bleeding, right? And so, Chris and Ophelia, track down the others, so Travis, Daniel, and Madison rush upstairs and pretty much interrogate these 3 new guests that just invited themselves aboard the Abigail, right? I don't think this is a very good thing, because they just happened to come across the Abigail, and she just happened at that moment to have pregnancy problems right when they approached the Abigail. That seems kind of convenient. I mean, if it was true and she's been having pregnancy problems, why at that exact moment, and why right when they approach the Abigail? It seems kind of like a hoax. If she's been having pregnancy problems this whole time, she would have either had a premature birth, or she could have died from childbirth if she's been having the problems before they find the Abigail. Because it seems a little too perfect timing that she ends up having pregnancy problems right when the Abigail is somewhere in view. Just saying. Madison assists the pregnant woman, whose name is Vita, to the bathroom to see what she can do, while Alicia goes upstairs. She manages to recognize one of the two men's voices as the guy she's been talking to on the radio named Jack. You remember, like, she was talking on a portable radio in a previous episode to a guy named Jack about his situation on another boat and everything? So, like, Alicia recognizes Jack's voice, right? And she goes up to like Jack, is pretty much like Jack in disbelief, right? And while that happens, of course, because Alicia recognizes at least one of them, the other guy, whose name apparently is Reed, ends up punching Travis, and then back downstairs, Vita, whatever, I knew they were sketch, right? Because the moment Alicia recognizes Jack's voice, and pretty much corners Jack in a way, she's like, Jack, right? The other guy, Reed, punches Travis, and I knew that this had to be a ploy. It was too perfectly timed, and I was confirmed the moment Reed punched Travis, and the moment Vita downstairs pretty much smashes Madison's head against a mirror and then ties up her hands, right? And Jack and Reed end up tying everybody else up and holding them at gunpoint. Strand, who panics, because, you know, his ship has been boarded by 3 strangers who pretty much took everyone else who could fight hostage, right? Because we never really see Strand fight before in these past 3 episodes beforehand. We never really seen Strand fight anything. We haven't even seen him truly fight a walker, have we? At least I don't think so. And plus, keep this in mind, we just met Strand toward like pretty much the end of season 1. So we never really seen him fight Walker. Oh, at least I don't think so. And then the past 3 episodes before this, I don't remember ever seeing him actually fight. So everyone else that has fought, you know, which is basically Travis and Madison's family, and of course Daniel and Ophelia, they fought, obviously, they fought walkers. They killed them. And so everyone that's there, with the exception of Nick, because we saw Nick in the middle of the night doing some naked swimming. Everyone that could fight has been knocked out and, well, not really knocked out, punched, hit in the head, and tied up, and held hostage at gunpoint by these people. And Strand we have never seen even fight a walker, let alone actual living people with guns, right? So he pretty much panics and tries to flee the Abigail on a little raft. And unfortunately, Reed notices that, and he actually shoots at the raft. I don't think he actually shot Strand, but he definitely shot the raft, because we actually see it shoot the raft, but not Strand himself. So obviously Strand has not been shot, but his only little means of floating on that water has been. So could this be the end of Strand, you guys? Death by drowning or hypothermia? I'm pretty sure he can swim, but ocean water is damn cold, guys. I would know. Yeah. No. He might get hypothermia, guys. During this episode, we actually get like some flashbacks and some insight on Strand's life, because we end up with our first flashback of Strand, where he meets a guy apparently by the name of Thomas Abigail, and the moment you hear his last name, it's like Abigail, just like the boat. Did Strand name this boat after Thomas Abigail, or is this literally Thomas Abigail's boat and Strand took it? I don't know. But obviously, the boat, considering its name is Abigail, has some sort of tie to this Thomas Abigail person in Strand's flashback. It's either Thomas Abigail's boat and Strand either took it or borrowing it, or it's Strand's boat and he named it after Thomas Abigail. I don't know. But anyway, apparently he met this guy, Thomas Abigail, at a bar pretty much soon after Hurricane Katrina. And Thomas is pretty much telling Strand that he's in town to buy some property. And Strand pretty much explains that everything he owns is literally underwater. And so basically, Thomas is trying to buy property, and Strand says all his stuff has, literally been underwater because of Hurricane Katrina. And then we go back to present time. It's interesting how we get a little background story on Strand. It seems kind of random, I'm not gonna lie to you, but something is going on with this Thomas Abigail person. I'm not gonna get too much into it yet. But anyway, back on present time. Not really present time. It's still in the flashback. Strand pretty much assists Thomas into his hotel room because I think he's like piss-ass drunk, and Thomas passes out. Strand tries to borrow some of Thomas's credit cards. And so then we get back to present day where Strand is like floats in his raft, and he's trying to dry his satellite phone because it got wet, right? And obviously he's not doing so well because obviously his raft got shot at, so there must be at least one or multiple bullet hole punctures all over his raft, so obviously that raft's gonna deflate. And his satellite phone got water on it, so he's screwed, right? And back on the Abigail, Reed threatens to shoot Chris if the group doesn't produce the key to the boat, because they're trying to, take control of the boat, right? So he's like, okay, there should be a key to this boat. One of you guys give me the key, or I shoot this guy right here. And Travis and Ophelia tried to tell Reed that the guy that was on the raft, which was Strand, who's part of their group, was the one who had the key. They shot at him at his raft. So Travis offers to start the boat without the key by hot wiring it because he knows how. I think he's doing that mainly to try to buy time. I mean, look at their situation. They're held at gunpoint. And the person who has the key to the boat is literally stranded with a bullet-ridden raft in the middle of the ocean. Well, nearby. But anyway, Vita rejoins the group with a tied-up Madison, and Alicia tries to tell her mother that her brother Nick was not in bed. So they fully become aware that Nick is not there on the Abigail, as we saw in the beginning of the episode and the preview in the episode 3's Talking Dead. Reed ends up telling Jack to find that portable radio that Alicia was using and go with Alicia to find it so they could contact their leader, Connor. Apparently they have a leader named Connor, and Alicia tells her mother, she'll fix the situation. She knows Jack. She's been talking to Jack through a portable radio. So she thinks that because she connected with Jack, she could try to talk him down and, protect her family from these intruders, right? Make things a little easier. And so, Alicia's all talking to Jack, and she pretty much accuses Jack of baiting her. She thinks that their whole conversation that she had with Jack on the portable radio was basically, a hoax. She accuses him of, pretty much just pretending to, be nice to her and like her and all that stuff, just to try to get information out of Alicia to get the Abigail. But Jack, he insists that he had no choice. That and he also says that their little boss man, Connor, actually listens to him. So I think they're trying to go through a compromise, look, I had no choice but to trick you into giving me information about the Abigail, but our boss listens to me. He might actually, tell me something and I'll tell Connor to help you and your family and stuff. And I just realized that I am actually running out of time. But Alicia does ask if she's safe, and he says, I promise. Do you think Connor's actually telling the truth about this? But anyway, I'm running out of time. I will continue this in a part 2 video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.